I just have to take a quick minute to thank our sponsors, Yellow Dog Paddle, Eddie Mackin's Riff and Lips Fishing Trips, Expeditions Fly Fishing LLC, NJFishing.com. Also, all of our supporters, Mike K's Guide Service, Psycho Jigs, Lip Glue, Signal 11, Nor'easter Hardcore Apparel, FC Fish Company.
Target's a large target. If I get a 7-8 pounder, that's that can be considered a trophy. But as far as a number, it's still a double digit, right? And then as guys start getting more, into it, then it's a teenager. But a trophy target is still a 10-pound fish. That was not the norm in Rhode Island. The Rhode Island state record was just broken this past year, and just shows you, because of their conservation, that those fish are getting larger and larger. So what we do is, because of their efforts, it just makes sense that, that's a great place for us to fish. So first and foremost, we do a really good job of following.
I'm sorry, but Joe just like knocked over his entire computer. The camera's laying down in the car.
Joe, I see flower seeds. I see sunflower seeds. I see hair follicles.
Dude,
I see a lot of stuff in that row, bro.
Joe, your carpet is disgusting. But anyway, Garrett, just continue the story. Joe might be dead.
That's a pretty good camera, because I see hair follicles.
I don't know why he didn't pick it up. He might have actually passed out. We're just going to keep going.
Joe,
Yellow Dog Paddle and Mike Herman continue to offer tons of stuff on their website. Head over to Yellow Dog Paddle's website. He's now offering, I'm calling it like a frequent flyer card. It's basically for like retirees or people that are going to do multiple trips. You could buy this card from Yellow Dog Paddle and do like 3 to 4 different trips over the course of the year. Gives you an opportunity to fish every season at a lower price. He's also now offering fishing lessons. If you're not as interested in catching fish, but more interested in buying a boat and trolling the big spread like Mike does, he'll take you out for a day and show you how to set it all up. All on his website, so head over to Yellow Dog Paddle's website. Hello and welcome to episode number 93 of the NJ Multi-Species Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Santiago, and as always, my partner, Chris Pereira.
What's going on?
Chris, another week of ice fishing. We went out Saturday. We did decent, and then me and Dwayne ended up leaving. You switched to another lake where I think you did even better than where we were.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say that. Just continued to fish.
Pretty much the same. Yeah, it wasn't that good.
We call it panfish. No walleye. We fished into the dark. No walleye. No big crappy schools came through. Pretty typical basic stuff. I mean, just out there catching some fish, doing what we can, hoping something bigger comes along. Still like the typical story for the ice fishing season this year. Just hasn't been that many great days, but it sounds like the contest.
You've had some luck, though. Like, your tip-ups have been on fire compared to everyone else's for some reason. We're trying to figure out why. We don't know.
I tried to tell you why. It's all about the preparation.
What preparation?
I mean, I asked you guys what size leader you were using, how long was the leader. I walked by a couple of your tip-ups. They weren't. You have the tip-ups that cover the hole, but you don't put them covering the hole. You leave the ice around the edge, and then you have it sticking up so all the light's coming through.
Yeah, but some days are just a cross. They don't even block.
No, they're not. I put the black cap on all those days that you're talking about. I have the black cover on them.
So
all four of my tip-ups, the hole was completely covered those days that you're talking about.
So you think that letting some spot of light through the ice hole around the tip up possibly makes a difference?
I think sometimes it does, yeah. I mean,
I've heard
you've
people say
also
that
noticed
when you leave a shanty in one spot for a long period of time, the fish seem to kind of come to the shanty under that shadow.
I also think that's true a lot of the times too. And I don't use a shanty. I've never bought one. I've never needed one to protect me from the weather here in New Jersey. All the times I've ice fished anywhere, even upstate New York, I can only count on 2 times that I've needed to get into someone's shanty because the weather was just that bad. But for the reason you just talked about, I've considered getting one because it becomes structure on the ice. Basically, the shadow of it becomes a structure for the fish that like to hide under stuff. I mean, it's there.
It makes
and
sense.
I think and you've noticed. Sorry, you've noticed. Sometimes when you have clear ice and then like snow ice or like the gray ice next to each other, you put your tip ups along that sometimes like it's structure, like a shadow line, depending where the sun is. The shadow line is I've seen it make some good days going by. I mean, some days it doesn't seem to make a difference, but the other day, me, Dwayne, and Luke were fishing. Dwayne's tip ups were going off more than anyone else's. He didn't have any covers on that day. It was the opposite.
You really do never know.
That's why I have ones that are cover the hole automatically no matter what, but I also have the ones that are just across, but I have the caps for them. So if someone without covers on the holes is catching fish, I'll take the covers off of 2 of them, at least see if it makes a difference. If it really makes that big of a difference, I'll switch them all over or whatever. You just got to go with it. I mean,
well, the forecast for this week looks pretty warm. We may get one more good ice fishing weekend in. I know this upcoming weekend's the meet and greet, njfishing.com. I think Fast Edward's running that this weekend. So if you're interested in going to that, I think it's Sunday, March 2nd. I
didn't even realize. I didn't even see this posted.
Yeah, he posted it. Meet and greet. It's this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. I'm almost positive it's Sunday, March 2nd. But double check with Fast Eddie. So, yeah, I might be there, stop by, just say hello. There's probably going to be a bunch of people there. It sounds fun. But I think the ice will last us through this weekend. And then depending on what the weather does the following week is going to either end it or bring it back. The extended forecast is showing it getting cold again.
I mean, there's a lot of ice on there. It's going to be 2 factors. It's going to be, can you get to the good ice? In other words, like, the edges are going to go first.
Yeah.
Can you get to it? Do you want to plank over it? Can you jump it? Can you get onto the good ice? And then is that ice good enough quality? The thickness is going to be there. The thickness isn't going to go away.
But
if we lose the quality, I mean, if you lose the quality of the ice and it's just sitting there, I mean, then you're talking about a couple of weeks at least of not being able to fish a lot of places.
I agree.
Like most places.
If you're interested in the meet and greet, talk to Fast Eddie. Tonight's guest is Garrett Weir. He's basically the leader of I guess you'll call him a club, right, Chris? Phish Phinders. We met.
Yeah. He explained it to us.
On Fishing Feed. Yeah, it's very similar to like Multi-Species Mayhem, but they do a lot more like saltwater charter boats and party boats, and they have all kinds of super pools and fun Calcuttas and really fun, like group get-togethers. They're kind of very similar to us. I think they just do the gatherings more often on the saltwater. So we're going to talk to him about Phish Phinders and some other stuff. And I think he's ready to come in.
Yeah, we can get him on here.
Eddie Mackin's Rippin' Lips Fishing Trips is now booking trips for this spring. He is offering $50 off your trip if you book before April 1st. So if you do plan on getting out on Lake Apacon, you could book your trip now with Eddie Mackin. $50 off. Also, the pontoon boat trips are back up and running, ready to be booked for this year. And the red eye, if you're looking to fish alone or with a new angler, the red eye program gives you an opportunity to go fishing with anyone else who's possibly available and Eddie that night. So call Mackin's Rip and Lips Fishing Trips today for your Lake Apacon fishing trip. Okay, so we have Garrett Weir here, the founder of Phish Phinders. Been doing their trips as groups now for 18 years. The idea has been around for about 18 years. He's also the winner of the 2019 Fisherman Magazine Dream Boat Challenge. Garrett, welcome to the NJ Multispecies Podcast.
Thank you very much, Chris and Joe. I appreciate that.
Yeah, what's up? Joe, that you almost had the introduction totally right, but I think you messed up the years.
Almost. So the years are, we've been around as everything I always refer to our community, Phish Phinders community of anglers, as we. The idea was birthed probably about 15 years ago, but the actual trips that I manage and facilitate, this is year 9 of the trips.
So where the hell did you get 18 from, Joe?
He was doing really good math.
No, I thought he said 18 years ago. He thought of the idea or something. I don't know. Whatever.
It's basically
to tell the story.
Yeah, it's basically the theme of the show. Joe screws up the introductions, but it's not even on purpose. We just let him go for it every time.
It was close enough though. But Garrett, so now you come up with this idea. So basically, for people watching this that don't have any idea what Phish Phinders is, it's basically a community of anglers now that does all kinds of trips together. You guys do super pools. I don't know if it costs money to be a member. Does it?
So tell us about what's the?
Yeah, I'll give you a quick background. The idea was started. So some quick background about myself. I'm a Brooklyn boy, born and raised. I kind of cut my teeth on the surf before I started boating. I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn. My family moved to Canarsie, Brooklyn when I was in high school. I did a lot of fishing in Canarsie Pier. I did a lot of fishing Marine Parkway Bridge. Cross Bay was a popular area. Some individuals that know Jamaica Bay would know these places extremely well. A lot of us who didn't have boats, those were the places that we frequent. Some of those places people still frequent. That leads me into how I kind of got really interested. So my dad from Honduras, my mom from Costa Rica. My dad fished a lot in Honduras, so it was only natural coming here that he wanted to fish. So I would be with him a lot on the beach, on the surf, on bridges, the bay, or for any bank that we could fishing. And again, as I got older and became a teenager, that's what I started doing. I'm also an athletic standout. I played baseball in high school, Canarsie High School. I played baseball in college by you guys in New Jersey. I played at Seton Hall University, won a Big East tournament there in 2001. And then I finished up at Delaware State, had my master's from Delaware State. And I also played professional baseball for several years. I'm independent. And I was in spring training with the Red Sox as well.
Nice.
So when I got home from playing professional baseball, I wanted to fish. And I found myself always fishing, whether it be in college. I remember fishing at the South Orange Reservoir and police trying to give us tickets because we used to hop fences to fish at the South Orange Reservoir. I remember in pro ball up in Boston, just finding water and kind of teaching myself freshwater fishing from what we would see on ESPN at 6 and 7 a.m. Because back then, we didn't have WFN, World Fishing Network. We just watched whatever came on, Bill Dance and those shows, right? So I would learn, largemouth bass and pike fishing and pickerel fishing from those shows. So I would just find a body of water and just fish it. So when I got home from playing ball, I'm back in my backyard now, and I want to fish. I didn't really have friends in my age bracket, right? Fishing is always, I hate to say this, considered an older individual's type of hobby. I didn't see it like that. I got back home. I think I was 24 when I got home from playing pro ball, and I wanted to fish, but I didn't really have anybody to fish with. So I would frequent the shows a lot. Like, a lot of us go to show season. One of the shows that I would always go to is the Fisherman Magazine's Huntington Hilton Surf Show. And that was a popular show for me, just to kind of see faces, get in the game, learn things, learn individuals, learn, what products are out there. I didn't have any money to buy anything. I just wanted to rub shoulders with people. So walking those shows, specifically that show, it is where the idea was birthed. And I said, you know what? I need to create, and I never wanted it to be a club. It was always something that, to answer one of your questions, would be free. And, there are actually like sanctioned fishing clubs. I was a part of one here in Long Island for several years, which was great. But I never wanted to be a sanctioned club. It's easier said than done, but it's manageable. You can go out, you can ask for, the necessary documents and become a fishing club. I never wanted to do that. I wanted to create something that essentially was a community where I could, and then hence where the name was birthed, Phish Phinders Community of Anglers. And the idea, as it kind of grew, was to have a collection of individuals that would essentially go to where the fish are, and hence Phish Phinders. The name, or the crafty spelling of the name, I'm an Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and the use of PH is very, known in the name. So I kind of just made a play on words, and I wanted to stick out. If I spelled it the other way, that's common for fishing here in the Northeast, because we all use Phish Phinders when we surf fish and we fish off the bank and striped bass fish. So I wanted to have a little play on it, and I wanted to be attractive, right? And you see it, I wanted to be catchy. So that's where the name was founded. And
I thought you just liked the band.
Oh, sometimes I've seen Phish play live.
Hi.
I've seen Phish play live up in Boston area. Yeah, pretty cool.
Nice.
That's an insane.
I want to say it was like 2011 or 2012. I saw him.
Yeah, I can't help but say, like, if you were able to stick playing pro baseball, you'd have access to so much private waters that nobody else could fish, because like the cops would come and they'd recognize you and be like, oh, all right, you could.
It's funny enough that would happen. I'll tell you a funny story. I love these funny story in podcasts as I'm drinking. So I'm drinking actually one of my favorite, Barrier Brewing. So we're gonna make sure Barrier sends us over a case for the
You're
next
hoping
podcast.
they'll send you free beer, right?
Member there. So once they see the podcast, they should send us something.
All right.
So this is 2005. I'm a rookie playing pro ball. I'm in independent leagues, playing for the North Shore Spirit of the Can-Am League. Excuse me. It's equivalent to playing high A baseball. And I'm with Andrew Wishy, who is now a surgeon. Played professional baseball, now he's a surgeon. And funny enough, we both went into medical fields. I for many years, for about 13 years, worked in medical devices. So not to get too far off here. So we're fishing. When we find some water, we're fishing. We're fishing like this, like estuary, mouth of the bay area, where the water literally on high tide, it's flooded everywhere. It's grassy marsh, and it dumps out of there on outgoing tide. So we're fishing the outgoing tide, and there's striped bass everywhere. All teenage size striped bass. All teenage size. So this is where the story gets funny. We're He's from St. Louis. He's never fished for anything saltwater before, and I know the area well. We're using like makeshift bucktails with like teasers. These bass are hungry. Whatever you throw out, they're eating. I know back then, I want to say it was similar to what it was before they made the alteration in regulations. I think 28 inches, I want to say. Back then, I want to say it was 2 fish, 28 and over 36 in Massachusetts. But we can't, everything we're catching is 12 to 20 inches. We can't keep anything. So I leave for a second. I go down the road, the marsh, and I'm trying to find some bigger fish. I come back and I see some stuff flopping in the bushes. And I say, what's going on, dude? He goes, Garrett, we've caught dozens of these things. We can keep one. I go, no, dude, you got to throw it back. We can't. Like, we're breaking the rules. Like, we're playing pro ball here. You don't want to have a cop come or the game warden comes and give you a ticket. Like, I don't want to deal with that. And as I'm telling him to throw it back, I hear footsteps. It's the game warden. Ooh. The game warden walks over, and I'm like, "Oh, wait, can you curse on this thing or what? Is it? Can you curse on this?
Yeah,
thing
you can curse. Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit! Here we go. So I'm acting like I'm fishing. I'm like, Fish, please stop. Like, please stop flopping around. And he comes up. He goes, hey guys, I've been watching you guys over there. And he goes, he points at Andrew Wishy, and he goes, can I have your ID, please? And he takes out, he asked me for my ID. And he goes, I saw you walk over yonder. And as you came back, I saw your buddy here before you returned, tuck a couple fish in the woods. I thought it was one. Now it's 2.
Now it's a couple.
2. And I'm like, here we go. So I'm looking at Andrew. It's my buddy, right? It's my teammate. I'm gonna like, say what's best and it's for his best interest. So he goes, what were you thinking, son? And I just jump. I go, hey, it's my fault. I should have taught him the regulations. He's from the Midwest. We're here visiting. We're playing for North Shore. We're playing professional baseball. And the guy stops for a second, game warden, and he goes, really? He goes, oh, my son goes to a lot of those games. He's always asking to go. So Andrew goes, really? Well, we just have two tickets behind home plate for you for tonight's game, for you and your son. If you would have forget this ever happened. I look at Andrew. I'm like, Andrew, shut up. That's bribing. You can't bribe a government official. And Andrew goes, what? And I go, dude, stop. And he goes, you know what, son? I'm going to accept your gift, and I appreciate it. And I'm not going to give you a ticket tonight. I'm going to give you a warning. Comes to the game that night, brings the family. He says, I have 2 sons and a wife. They bring the family. We sign autographs for him, send him home with stuff. So that's my little story on playing ball up in Boston and striped bass fishing up in Boston.
So you just taught all the kids listening to this that they could bribe the officers to get away with stuff.
Do not try. That was 2005. Do not try to bribe the officers. We were lucky that, Andrew was lucky. I didn't do it. I had nothing to do. I was just in the neighborhood.
I'm sorry. The only way that could have been better is if you pulled the tickets out of the fish's mouth from behind with some magic trick. Dude, you had me thinking, I swear, I feel like everyone's got stories like this where the game warden just appears out of nowhere. You've never done anything wrong, and all the time you're fishing, and then this one time something happens, and the game warden just comes out of the bush, out of nowhere. And I remember this time, right? I'm gonna go catfishing, I think. So I needed some bait. I wanted some live bait. I'm come out of work. I go down to the local creek. I'm let me catch some sunfish so I could cut them up for catfish bait. So I'm catching some sunfish, no size limit, whatever. I get a crappie, and I'm like, oh, that make good bait too. But it was I'm like, is it big enough? I don't have a ruler on me. I think that they got to be 10 inches or something like that.
I think it's 8.
Is it 8? Whatever it was. I wasn't even sure because I didn't really kept the crappie. And I'm like, I didn't have a ruler on me. And I'm like, I got a ruler in my truck, whatever. Let me go. Like, I'll throw it in the bucket and I'll walk up to the truck, make sure. If it's not, I'll just toss it back, leave with the sunnies. And I fish here all the time. Never see it's in the middle of nowhere, like literally in the middle of nowhere, back in the woods in the swamp, like nowhere. I'm walking back up to the truck with the bucket. Game warden comes out of the path. I'm like, oh God, I'm like, I got a crappie in there. I don't know. So I immediately go, oh, hey, I'm going up to my truck to get a ruler. I just caught a crappie. Like I was telling the truth, but technically I got a crappie in my bucket now that I don't know the size of. Right. And he's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I'll come with you. Because I gotta check your fish. And I gave him my fishing license and everything. And we go up, we check the fish. I checked, it was really close, but it was like under by like a quarter inch or so. And he's like, yeah, it's a little short. I'm like, yeah, I was coming up to get my ruler. I would just throw it back. And he was cool about it. He's like, but he said, just so you know, like technically you have the fish in your bucket. I'm like, yeah, and I was like, I thought I could run up real quick. I obviously wasn't expecting to see you. I wasn't trying to do anything wrong. I was going to check it, but like he doesn't know me, like, but the guy was cool, long story short, but it's just like, they just pop out of nowhere. It's crazy. Like, let it be a lesson to anyone. Like, just keep following the rules. If you're a rule follower, just keep doing it.
Follow the rules. So I do pretty well with throwing fish back. So I don't, luckily I've never received a ticket. I never plan on receiving a ticket. And I'm happy that Andrew did not receive a ticket that day.
So how does it actually work now? You go on social media and you'll like just post the date of when the next trip is, and then the first.
Yeah, so similar. So what I've done is I kind of have a pseudo database where when we meet anglers, say like you guys, we fish together. I connect. Phish Phinders on Instagram is very active. Also on Facebook. Garrett Weir on Instagram and Facebook, but most guys just follow my Phish Phinders. I post a lot of, community catches of the guys and gals. There's a nice circle of guys and gals as well, that are in the community. Fishing is, always historically has been a guy sport. We've had some really good girls, women, over the years that have added to the circle. Kristen, Shell, Mo, that are really good fishermen that come out. Matter of fact, all three of them are Jersey girls.
You just called them fishermen. You're dead. This podcast.
Well, a fisherman is subjective, right? It is the umbrella of all, whether you're a man, woman, or otherwise, which we don't.
Exactly. I always say, what's mankind mean? Everyone, all humans, you man. You're
dead too.
I don't care. They could come for me. It's not the worst thing I've ever said.
We got to fish with you for the first time on Fishing Fever, and we know that you guys love to have fun. The video of your buddy reeling in the big tog on the jig while you guys just relentlessly break his balls is hilarious.
That was Dino, right?
That was Dino. That was hilarious.
You guys also like to gamble too. You don't run the modern normal pool. You see.
Yeah, so I don't. We don't like to use the word gamble because I don't want to make it seem like it's excessive. So to kind of give you a rundown or an idea of the way it goes. So I book and pay for up front a couple dozen charters a year. The heaviest seasons are fall. We do a lot of stuff in Rhode Island because togging in Rhode Island, well, first in proximity to New York, it's rather close. New York and New Jersey, it's rather close. And the fishing is really good. And we have fishing pretty much from early in the season in Rhode Island, end of September through that first week of December, pretty much. The good fishing is the last week in October, pretty much every year, or November, and then it goes until the first week in December. So you have a good 2 solid month window to get good fishing in, which most species, other than like a tog and fluke, that's a long season, and the fishing is so good in Rhode Island that a lot of individuals they weren't so people guys and gals didn't know about it, right? So about 9-10 years ago, I started going up there and realized how good of fishing it was. So now, where I met you guys down in South Jersey, fishing with individuals like Daffin, that fishery has been good for quite some time. Then going into Ocean City, been good for quite some time. But the fishing in Rhode Island, it was good, but then because of the conservation and the way those guys started taking care of the large catches and throwing the large fish back, as you, Chris, do your large fish back, your PB, it's really kind of boomed their trophy catches, and pretty much it's a testament as to why every year now there are 20-pounders being caught. They're double digits pretty much. Like it wasn't the norm. So a trophy tog, as I speak about tog, right? That's a 16 plus. I'm sorry, a fish pushing 18 that I caught in Rhode Island. It was the largest Rhode Island state tog caught in a jig until last year, where someone caught an 18 and a half. But until then, it was the largest caught in a jig. That was 2 years ago. So a trophy tog is still essentially a double digit. But a lot of us, a trophy tog is a large tog. If I get a 7-8 pounder, that can be considered a trophy. But as far as a number, it's still a double digit, right? And then as guys start getting more, into it, then it's a teenager. But a trophy tog is still a 10-pound fish. That was not the norm in Rhode Island. The Rhode Island state record was just broken this past year, and just shows you, because of their conservation, that those fish are getting larger and larger. So what we do is, because of their efforts, it just makes sense that that's a great place for us to fish. So first and foremost, we do a really good job of following.
I'm sorry, but Joe just like knocked over his entire computer.
Yeah,
the camera's laying down in the carpet.
Joe, I see flower seeds. I see sunflower seeds. I see hair follicles.
Dude,
I see a lot of stuff in that rug, bro.
Joe, your carpet is disgusting. But anyway, Garrett, just continue the story. Joe might be dead. That's a pretty good camera,
because I see hair follicles.
I don't know why he didn't pick it up. He might have actually passed out. We're just gonna keep going.
Joe, are you okay, Joe?
Yeah,
Joe, say hey, so we know you're okay, Joe.
I'm here, dude.
I hear him. He's alive.
We'll wait a second. We'll wait for you, Joe. We don't mind. We'll wait for you.
All right, Deuce, cut it. All right, so we're back. Joe broke his table. Everything fell down right in the middle of Garrett's story. We wanted to keep it going, but Deuce cut us off and brought us back on here. And then we found out that Garrett thought Deuce was just Joe or I throwing our voice like a ventriloquist. He didn't realize there was a third person here.
Like Kanye said, she gonna take it up like a ventriloquist.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So we're back. This is something that Joe does frequent. I mean, Joe, when we're ice fishing, Joe you turn around and you don't see him. He's asleep behind his fishing sled. And the other day, I walk over to one of his tip-ups, right, and I kick the flag up, and I walk back to my spot. He's still asleep, and I go, Joe, flag, Joe. He doesn't move. And I yell louder. Still doesn't move. So now I'm like, oh my God, is he okay? Is he fucking dead? And I walk over to him and I go, Joe, still nothing. I kick him with my cleats. Still doesn't move. I go, yo, Dwayne, Joe's not. And then finally he goes, and I'm like, never mind.
How is this relevant at all?
Because you just knocked everything off your desk and broke it, and you didn't say anything. We thought you were dead again.
Almost.
All right, Garrett, is there any chance that you remember where you were in that story?
Yeah, I remember. So,
all right.
So what I do is simply, guys guys follow my Phish Phinders page, and they kind of, that's how we share a lot of stuff. So what I do is the two biggest seasons are the fall in Rhode Island and Fluke season. So what I do is I book a couple dozen trips, and usually share through text message, email. I like to be personal, so it's a lot of text messaging. There's a lot of WhatsApp groups. I have several WhatsApp groups. Every trip gets a WhatsApp group, and so I kind of break it down. So say one of the trips that's the most popular is we do a tournament style trip every year on a party boat. The last several years, it's been with the Island Current in Rhode Island.
Okay.
We've also done it in Montauk with the Fin Chaser. It's TOG based, so only TOG count. What I've done was made it a little bit of a little bit more of a competitive nature. So there is money involved, right? So we don't have to say gambling because I don't want it to make it seem more than what it is. It's simply just individuals that come out. You spend a lot of money traveling from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Some guys come from Maryland, Virginia. So you're incentivized. The incentive is there's some money to be won by catching pool fish. There's not just a big fish, because I believe that anybody can kind of get lucky and catch a big fish, like Chris did. He just
whoa. Hey, look, I'm sorry I took everyone's money that day. All right,
Chris, we're happy you took the money, but like every once in a while, someone gets lucky and catches a big fish. But what we do is to make it more competitive and make it more of an angler-based skill. Is we do stringers. So
that's so cool.
It's the two largest stringer. So there's first, second, third place. So and then there's Calcuttas. So first place would be the two largest fish caught. There's usually anywhere from 30 to 35 anglers. So the numbers will reflect per person. So I want to say it's $50 a person for the pool, and then the Calcuttas are 100 and 200. Sometimes 250, but it's usually 50 boat pool, 100 Calcutta, 200 Calcutta. The 50 boat pool will have three places. First place would be the largest two fish stringer. Second place is the second two fish stringer, and third place. And then there's also a big fish payout. So the big fish payout, it differs. Sometimes it's a custom rod. Sometimes it's a single payout. But first, second, and third is usually the money game. And it's all reflective of how many guys we have on the trip. Obviously, if you have 35, it'll be a little bit more than what we have if it's 30. The Calcuttas are simple. Calcuttas are whatever they say. So 100 may be for the guys that want that big fish. So it's usually big fish, $100 Calcutta. If it's 20 guys in 100, then it's a $2,000 take home for the big fish for whoever's in that Calcutta. Three fish is usually, the larger Calcutta, which is 250. It's usually a three fish Calcutta. Again, it makes it a little more competitive. So you have to get three keepers and three large fish. And we've seen several times, how competitive it is. A guy who won the big fish, but didn't win the two fish stringer. A guy who won the two fish stringer, guy or gal, but didn't win the three fish stringer. So it just makes so obviously we have both ways. Sometimes you have it where you have an individual who clean house, but more times than not, I want to say majority of times you won't have someone clean house. They may take the big fish or the pool or the boat pool and the big fish, but I don't think anyone's totally cleaned house yet, which is cool, right? Because now just one big fish isn't just making everybody like throw their hands up.
Yeah.
And it's become that's just the first dynamic of the trip. The second dynamic is the Phish Finder partnerships. So luckily, based on who I am as an individual and, my networking, I've created a tremendous following and a tremendous networking circle for the fish finder community of anglers. I'm pro staff with Century Rods, which I man many of the shows that we do here in the Northeast. I'm pro staff with Van Stoll reels, Siegler reels, Rio sunglasses, Magic Tail, Magic Tail tog jigs, Magic Tail lures. There's a couple other brands that are less notable that I'll maybe that'll be listed on my Instagram. But through those partnerships, what I do is I have a plethora of different items, and we raffle them off during trips. So that creates so some guys literally come just for the raffles because, obviously the buy-in for that trip may be for that day $225 or $250. I think it's $225. So it's usually, whatever the boat fare is, the $50 pool, and then the $50 for and then tip for the boat as well. So everything's collected up front. And then once you have that aspect of the pool, whoever wins that, now at the end of the trip, we do raffles. And you get one raffle with your fare, and then there's opportunities to buy more raffles, right? So, I mean, in recent years, actually this past year for that big trip, so all Fish Finder large pools, we have that type of setup. For just Fish Finders, 6-pack pools or six-pack trips, it's just simply a $50 pool. So usually the winner essentially fishes for free. So, finishing up the way the trips are constructed, this last trip we had a Century rod that was raffled away, a Pro Togger. The price on a Pro Togger is almost $800. Wow. We had several custom rods raffled off. We had several fishing reels, Penn fishing reels, Siegler fishing reels, other spinning reels. There was an Accurate that was raffled off. We had a Yeti cooler raffled off. So tog jig setups, sunglasses from Costa, sunglasses from Rios, one of our partner brands. And I say all this to say that a lot of work goes into it over the year to obviously collect these items, because if I went and purchased the items, it'd be far more expensive than. One second, I had to plug this charger in to make sure I don't lose.
It sounds pretty similar to like we do the Christmas party every year, right? We get all the people donate the prizes and stuff. It's kind of like that, but with fishing. Like you get to go fishing, but then there's this awesome raffle at the end where even if you didn't win the fishing prize.
Well, I think last year when we did the gambler trip, we had a couple of prizes that we raffled off on there. I think Mark Mercer brought a rod we raffled from Jigging World that Anthony Dente won. We don't do anything with the pool thing, but it sounds cool. Like we could do it. Imagine like a stringer of sea bass instead of one fish. That'd be awesome. I love that kind of shit.
What I thought when he was explaining it, what I thought would have been cool, and maybe he's even done something like this before, but like instead of buying more extra raffle tickets, extra chances to win the raffle, you get like an extra chance raffle ticket / chance at winning for every like keeper of whatever you're fishing for. So like the more keepers you get, the more chances you get.
It's just harder to keep. It's hard to keep track of all that shit. But yeah, maybe we could come up with some stuff. Expeditions fly fishing. Joey X is now running a full guided fly fishing business in New York State, mainly catering to the east and west branch of the Delaware River. Beautiful drift boat. Also will cater to fly fishing in waders on smaller rivers like the Beaverkill and Will Weemac. I'm going to post some pictures of the beautiful brown trout that Joey does catch and rainbow trout. Amazing. He does not cater to spin fishermen. If you spin fish, do not call him. Fly fishing only. Call Expeditions Fly Fishing today to book your drift boat fly fishing trip in the Catskills with Joey X.
He will teach you how to fly fish, though. Got to throw that in there.
He will make you fly fish and make you do it good. Also, if you book a single man trip, he's offering $25 off, and if you book a double man trip, he's offering $50 off. So call Expeditions Fly Fishing. Okay, so we are back. Garrett had a little battery problem after my table collapse. So now we're all good. Hopefully nothing happens to Chris. Garrett,
it's like fishing, Murphy's Law. What can and will.
We're used to it here.
Just roll it.
Pick up right where you left off.
Sure. So the stringers, right? So we have 2-fish stringer will be the boat pool. Then there's a big fish string. I'm sorry, the boat pool will be 2-fish stringer. The first Calcutta is usually the big fish for guys that want just a big fish to be the money fish, and then there's a third Calcutta or a third way to win, which is 3-fish Calcutta. It just creates a lot of other options. Now, before we went off, I was talking about the raffles. There's a plethora of raffles, due to the relationships that I kind of garnered through the year. We're able to collect many items, some purchased, some donated, some purchased on a discount. But a lot of times, I think this year there were a total of $4,000 worth of items that was raffled off. And the reality is, individuals aren't paying for those. And I take tremendous pride in that, because unlike other gatherings of anglers, first and foremost, we don't talk negatively about anybody else. Whatever anybody else is doing, we love it. We're really happy about them. But here at Phish Phinders, we want it to be a no cost associated other than what you put forward toward pools, right? So there's no fee to be a member, no fee to come on trips. You simply show and you network.
Yeah, because I know some other I know people here in Jersey that do this kind of thing on charter boats, but usually the guy that's the leader of it always takes a rake most of the time. No.
So, again, I take tremendous pride in not doing that. It's all about individuals coming together and simply networking, finding fish, and creating relationships that last a lifetime. We've had individuals that met their significant others through Phish Phinders. We have individuals that create their own, partnerships, and they fish outside of us. And I love that because, again, that was essentially the mission when it first started, was to bring individuals together, like-minded individuals that wanted to fish, that essentially didn't really have a way of connecting. Right. So, even this podcast here, that's how we connected. I know I'm pro staff with Century as well as Frank. Frank invited me to a trip. Frank gets invited to some of my trips. I come, we all fish together. Boom, I'm on your podcast. You guys come and fish with us this summer, for a Fluke charter or for, in the fall for a Tog charter. And then you now extend your network to our followers and our anglers. And that's what it's all about, right? So the money that's involved is a great thing. For example, so I'm a captain. I'm a 100-ton guy, and I do charters. I don't do fishing charters. I do cruise charters out of Long Island here. I have several boats that I run. I work corporate, but in the summertime, I still do, try to do a houseboat charters. I do just simple charters of the bay. So the money is made in a different way. But as for the fishing aspect, I really love it to be, by chance, right? We're all fishing for that pool, fishing for that chance to catch that big fish or that chance at a stringer. So, and I've kept it like that for a reason. There's no reason for me particularly to charge for something that can be gotten for free. If you want to learn how to fish, Chris or Joe, you'll Google it. That's how it goes, right? So that's why we don't charge anything. And
well, I know how to fish. Joe has to Google some stuff a lot of times. It's a really cool. It's like in its simplest form, right? It's similar to what we started doing, kind of, right? In its simplest form, it's just a way for people to meet other anglers. Like you got nobody to fish with, or you got nobody to fish this time of the year, that time of the year, whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
And in its simplest form, that's really what it is. But then it becomes other things, right? Like we got this podcast. You've turned these trips into like events where, I mean, there's so many different aspects to it with the things you can win. And, you know, I'm sure there's all kinds of great times ball busting each other with the competitiveness of trying to win these Calcuttas. I mean, it's just, they evolve into like such cool things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what it's about, right? Because, you know, a lot of us, you know, we have careers, we work, we have families, and to carve out a small, you know, time in our lives where we're able to do something that we love, whether it's a hobby, whether, you know, you consider, whatever you consider it, you want to make sure it's valuable. And that's something that I've taken, and I'll reiterate this plenty of times. I take tremendous pride in, because I know how it goes, right? I've been lucky enough to touch many different aspects of life in regards to success, in regards to travel, and to be able to give back in my way means a lot to me. And there's nothing like having an individual, whether you're old or young, come on a trip and win a pool, win a custom rod, right? And see them connect with individuals that they essentially would have normally not connected with, right? So yes, now we have social media, but it's still not easy to say, like, no, you can go to a forum and say, hey, I want to go fluke fishing, but right? You have one or two guys that say, let's go. But I will
say, I mean, if you just randomly go on social media and say, hey guys, I got a boat, I want to go, anyone want to come fluke fishing with me?
Exactly.
The quality of character that you're going to get on that boat, I'm going to just call it questionable.
Exactly.
Most likely.
Exactly.
And that being said, and I've told Joe this plenty of times, like, the coolest thing about any of this is the people you get to meet and fish with, right?
Absolutely.
And that being said, sometimes you come across guys that, you know, at the end of the day, you just kind of shake their hand and say, I will not be fishing with you again, in your head. And you just kind of smile and like walk away. But I want to say a good 90% of the guys that we meet and fish with, I mean, everyone's this unique character in the fishing world. And for the most part, I love it. I mean, like, we got to go with you guys, and we didn't know you. We knew Frank. You guys knew Frank. You didn't know us. We didn't know you. You were nice enough to let Frank, you know, invite guys that he knew, even though you didn't know them.
That's right. I forget that was my trip. Look at that. That was a fit. For some reason, I thought that it was Frank's trip, because, you know, Frank and I kind of like, you know, we bounce off each other.
You're thinking in your head, like, I sure as hell didn't invite these guys.
Well, I'm not
their
selfish,
desks
though.
and shit while they're
I'm
doing
it. I'm not a selfish guy, so I never think me first. So
and now next week's episode is Captain Tom Daffin, who we met from that trip. So yeah, the network just keeps snowballing. You're right. You're 100% right.
I mean, but so I tie a lot of that to like my experiences in life, right? Like, networking in life is tremendously important, but, you know, who you meet through your passion, whatever it is, right? If you're a car, you know, you're a mechanic, if you're a guy who sells, you know, appliances, whatever you do, your passion in life should allow you to meet individuals and connect with like-minded individuals, right? Hence why I feel so strongly about our mission statement in Phish Phinders and our, you know, values of Phish Phinders, right? And not a lot of places or groups are run like this. And you'll hear me say a lot, I take tremendous pride in it, because I love the right individual coming around. Because I personally, I'm 42 now. I want to fish until I'm 102. You know, I have a son who's 11 years old, who, by the way, is one of the top 11-year-olds in the Mid-Atlantic region playing baseball. We're going to be flying to Houston this Thursday for the opening of the national tournament season.
That's awesome.
He plays for a Jersey-based team that's based in Fairfield, the only nationally ranked team in his age class in the Mid-Atlantic, Flores Braves.
Wait, but I got an important question though. I know he's probably really busy, obviously, but does he fish with you too sometimes?
He does fish with me. He loves to fluke fish.
Awesome.
He loves to fluke fish. He doesn't like togging as much because it gets cold.
Okay.
And because of his crazy baseball schedule, I haven't been able to take him up to Rhode Island yet to really get him, the easy fishing as they call it in Rhode Island, not the hard fishing. The hard fishing.
I call it fun fishing, not the easy fishing.
Guys go to Rhode Island for the easy. That's why we do our charters up there. Because guys know it's a little bit easier, right? When you go to Jersey, come to Brooklyn and try to tog.
Dude, I love going up to Rhode Island, just tossing that jig around, knowing that I'm not gonna get, it's just not as snaggy. It's it's easier to fish.
You're gonna you may go fishing with no arms, no eyes, and no ears, and still catch a big tog in Rhode Island.
It's just so much fun. I'm trying to get Joe up there so you could actually catch some.
Joe, I'm gonna send you guys my trips, and we're gonna put something together. I guarantee guys. So I never guarantee anything, but I guarantee guys, the trip of a lifetime when you tog fish with us in Rhode Island. And the reason why I say that is because if you never fished Rhode Island before, the experience, your first, second, or third is usually exhilarating based on the fishing. It's almost like porgy or sea bass fishing, but for tog. There's a lot of fish there. When you get the right tide, things get crazy. So
yeah,
it gets good. And that leads me to say the same thing for Nantucket and Montauk fluking. When you have the right day, it's amazing fluking. Even though you guys have some pretty good fluking in Jersey, when the times are right, Montauk and Nantucket, are the meccas. Montauk being the mecca, Nantucket has been the epicenter of the fluke, hatch, and where you've caught the biggest fluke, year in, year out. It's declined a little bit because the biomass kind of shifted. You guys had the biomass in Jersey for a couple of years. As far as numbers, I don't know about quality, but as far as quantity, you guys definitely had the numbers. But those are two other places where we do some charters as well. We do large pools as well. So we definitely got to get you guys out on those trips.
It's been a couple of years since I've done enough fluke fishing to satisfy myself. I just haven't gone as much as I wanted to the last couple of years. I definitely want to get some more. I was telling someone the other day, this year I got to fluke fish more. So yeah, please do. I mean, get us on whatever email list or keep us in mind when there's
I'll send you guys after this. I'll send you guys a direct message. I'm going to get you guys several dates. We'll get you the annual Tog trip, Tog Mega Pool. It's called the Phish Phinders Tog Mega Pool. That's on the Island Current every year. This year we're going to have two of them. We have one that we do in conjunction with my uncle that he's done for the last 15 years. That's a porgy sea bass trip, and that's out of Orient Point, which if you guys don't know, Long Island splits into two forks, the North Fork, South Fork. North Fork being Orient Point, the South Fork being Montauk, and right before the Hamptons before Montauk. And we fish out of the North Fork, and that's a trip that we do every year. Similar to mine, porgy sea bass, 2 fish stringers. So I will give you the dates for that. I'll give you the dates for our 6-pack charters as well. Something that we've added for 2025, where it's the first time actually, and I wanted to announce it here. We're going to be doing trips outside the country. So we booked with a resort in Costa Rica, where we're going to be doing 5 to 7 day trips. And those trips are going to be all inclusive, travel, airfare, resort, food. They cook for you on the boat. It's going to be pretty dope shit. And we're going to be doing that with our partners, Dojo Fishing, which is Kevin, who's a good friend of mine. He runs Dojo Fishing, and he's kind of going to be I'm heading that, and I'm going to be assisting with it. And we're going to do that in conjunction with each other. And we're going to do the first trip probably in December of 25. And then from there, of course, it'll grow some legs, because a lot of guys have, want to do Alaska. A lot of guys want to do all of these destination places. So we'll just give them opportunity, because, the main thing, as we speak about with Phish Phinders community anglers, is finding the group to want to go there, right? Everybody wants to do charters. Everybody wants to do trips, but it's easier said than done at times to find 6 guys than not. So that's what makes it hard. So
you gotta get that commitment, when you want to put this stuff together, because you can't just have guys saying like, "Oh yeah, that sounds awesome, I'd do that," and then the time comes and then they're like, actually I can't go.
Exactly.
Well, Garrett, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on here, and hopefully we will get the dates from you and be able to do some of those, and hopefully put some videos and all kinds of stuff on our channel too. It'd be awesome,
dude. And anytime you want to come back on, dude, like if you guys gotta, like, if let's say you have this trip, look, he's doing it right now. You didn't think he was going to do it? He just sent you a text message.
Oh, he did already?
No, I don't. So
it's coming through.
I was going to say, like, dude, if you do like one of these big trips to Costa Rica or whatever, right? And you want to come on the podcast and like share the story of the trip, like just text me, dude.
Oh yeah.
You're welcome back anytime.
We'll definitely do that. So a couple of things too. So I am the 2019 winner of the Fisherman Dreamboat. That's how I got one of the boats that I do my charters with, my Steiger craft. So make sure, Fisher Magazine is one of the leading publications here in the Northeast. Subscribe to them. I do also am a contributing writer to On the Water magazine. I have several articles that I've done with them. You can go on my Phish Phinders page and see some of the links for the articles that I've done. Several TOG articles, some Fluke articles as well. Reach out to me directly. I answer everything. There's no AI stuff. I answer everything that's sent over to me. If you ask me a question, I answer it. Just, I love interacting with individuals. And at the end of the day, again, we want to extend an open invite to all individuals. As we say, our invite is open and endless to all that want to come and be a part of the community of anglers that we call Phish Phinders. So please reach out. If you have any questions, I'll answer them directly. If you want to come with us and fish, just reach out.
Awesome, dude.
Garrett, thank you so much, and definitely check out Phish Phinders.
And hopefully the weather lets us get out on Fishmonger. You and a buddy are coming with our trip on the Fishmonger. Hopefully we get the weather we need.
That's right. I forgot. When is that again? I forgot about that.
April 29th.
Oh, man. Let me make sure I got
some spring togging. Right. That'll be a good time. And
April 29th is locked. Yes, I have it here. Yeah.
There it is. He's in. All right, Garrett, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here.
Fellas, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, fellas. It was a pleasure.
We will see you soon.
Look forward to seeing and fishing with you guys soon. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
Absolutely, dude.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
All right, so that was awesome. I love stringer-based stuff like that. I hate single fish stuff, but stringer stuff I love. Even
because
sea bass I would do. I like that.
And it is like, he said, bust my balls about the one fish, but it's true, right? I mean, anyone can get that one fish any day,
I like the stringer. But yeah, we've personally fished with him, and he was fun, and his friends were fun. We had a good time and some laughs. So Phish Phinders, definitely worth checking out if you're looking for some new friends to go fishing with really cool stuff.
And you got the video on their on the YouTube channel. What's it called? It's basically the whole trip on video. The only thing you missed is the biggest fish of the day, mine. But
the
whole trip is on there.
I'm pretty sure if you just put in like NJ multi-species fishing fever, you'll find it. You can see the video. Maybe Deuce could put the link in the description. There is a video of that whole day. You're right.
It was an awesome time. It was a blast. It was awesome.
It was. And as coincidentally, next week's guest is Captain Tom Daffin, the captain of Fishing Fever. You can see him in the videos getting some of my fish out of a wreck for me. An unbelievable captain. Can't wait to talk to him.
This is slowly becoming just a Blackfish podcast, and we're losing all other viewers.
Yeah, we're going to stop talking about... Well, Captain Daffin, I'm sure, fishes for everything.
He does,
he does. He's not going to just talk Blackfish. But we are going to be back next week with Captain Tom Daffin. So if you have questions for him, please email him to njmultispecies@gmail.com. I think that's all we have for tonight. If you are going to the Lake Pacon meet and greet out on the ice, I may see you there, njfishing.com, meet and greet. That's it for me. Chris, you have anything?
No, I'm good. I think it's Sunday's Katie's birthday, so unless I can convince her to her, and the new baby to come by the ice meet and greet, I guess I probably won't be there. But we'll be fishing
Katie's
Saturday.
Birthday, so happy birthday to Katie. And Saturday. I'll be fishing Friday with Chuck, hopefully, if he finds something good to do.
Hey, if you find something good enough, I'll take off.
We're running out of ideas here. All right, everyone. Goodbye. See you next week.
Keep suffering for the fish.